Hey everyone, it's Tammy. Welcome back to the Revolution YouTube channel. So in today's video, you may know Revolution launched a brand new foundation. This is the Conceal and Hydrate Radiance Foundation with hyaluronic acid and also the Conceal and Hydrate concealers. So what I'm going to do in this video is compare the Conceal and Hydrate with the original Conceal and Define. So I'm going to do half and half. Conceal and Define on this side and Conceal and Hydrate on this side so you guys can see the differences in the finish. So of course the main difference is the formula. The Conceal and Define is a demi matte foundation, whereas the Conceal and Hydrate is a hydrating radiant foundation. But also they have slightly different packaging. So the new Conceal and Hydrate has a pump, whereas the original Conceal and Define comes with that big doe foot applicator. I do love both applicators. I do slightly prefer the doe foot just because I've become accustomed to it, but also the pump does dispense a lot of product, like a good amount. It's not one of those ones where you have to pump 5 times. I tend to find that 2 pumps of this does my whole face. So both foundations do come in 50 shades as well, and in the summertime, which is now, I wear the shade 13.2 in both foundations, but in the winter I use the shade 13.5, which is just slightly lighter. So on the top here we have Conceal and Define in 13.5, which I wear in the winter, and this is the one that I wear now, 13.2. So I'm just going to read to you guys what Revolution says about both foundations. So with the Conceal and Define, it says offering a lightweight yet buildable coverage with an oil-free yet creamy and comfortable formula that dries down to a long-lasting demi-matte finish. It won't settle into fine lines or cling to dry patches. So that's the original demi-matte Conceal and Define foundation. Now with Conceal and Hydrate, it says firstly, for a sheer texture and a more hydrating foundation formula, Conceal and Hydrate foundation is infused with hyaluronic acid to hydrate the complexion, provide a plumping effect and create a smoother satin glow finish to the skin. So if you don't know, hyaluronic acid does draw moisture into the skin. So if you do have like dry skin and you are looking for a hydrating foundation, Conceal and Hydrate would be the one you go for. So yeah, that is the information about the foundation. Let's just go ahead and apply it. So first I'm going to start with the Revolution Pore Blur Primer, which looks like that. And this I'm just going to put on my pore area and also on the bits that I tend to get oily throughout the day, and just tap that into my pores. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the Conceal and Define foundation, and I'm just going to spread that onto my face. And I'm just going to begin to dab that in with my, I was going to say sponge, with my brush. So I hope you guys can see it has dried down to a semi-matte finish. It is matte, but it still has a little bit of radiance to it, and it just sits so flawlessly on the skin. So now we're going to move on to the Conceal and Hydrate side. And because we're only doing one side of my face, I'm only going to take 1 pump. I'm going to take that onto my brush and just spread that on my face. This color might look a little bit dark for my face, but it matches my body perfectly. And the coverage on this foundation is just as amazing as the Conceal and Define. Okay, so now that that foundation is blended out, we have a complete face, and I hope you guys can see the difference. We have a glowy, radiant, hydrating foundation versus the mattifying demi-matte Conceal and Define foundation. So because I do have oily skin, I do prefer this foundation just for my skin type, but if you have dry skin, you would love this foundation. So now we're going to go ahead and do concealer. So in the Conceal and Define, I use the shade 12.5, but I don't have that at the moment in the Conceal and Hydrate, but I do have 13 and 12, so I'm going to mix them to kind of make 12.5. First we're going to start with Conceal and Define, and this is once again a mattifying concealer, kind of like a demi matte once again. And then with the Conceal and Hydrate, it is a more hydrating concealer, so I'm just going to start with C13 and then top it with C12. So this concealer also has hyaluronic acid and acai, so it's going to be very hydrated underneath the eyes. So I'm going to start with the Conceal and Define side and just blend that out underneath my eyes. Both sides blend absolutely flawlessly, really easily as well. And then I'm going to flip the sponge, use the other side and blend the hydrating concealer. Okay, so this side is just slightly brighter. I think it's because I used the C12 shade, but this side like fits perfectly because I've been using it for a long time and I have my correct shades. But I hope you guys get the gist of it. This side is a lot more radiant, more hydrating, whereas this side has dried down beautifully to a matte finish, which I do prefer, like I mentioned, for my skin type. I'm not going to set either side just because I want you guys to see the true finish of each foundation and concealer. So once again, conceal and define, and conceal and hydrate. So let us know down in the comments which side you prefer. Are you more of a demi matte conceal and define type of person, or do you prefer a hydrating base like the conceal and hydrate? Please give this video a thumbs up if it was helpful for you guys, and I'll catch you in my next one. Take care. Bye.